This is Final Fantasy 15. It's the one where you either love it or you hate it. There is no middle ground. It's not made for the fans, it's made for newcomers. So just keep that in mind as we go through, but I decided this was going to be my next Platinum Trophy. The game opens up to Noctis, Prompto, Gladius, and Ignis walking down from the castle and then getting embraced by the king as we go off on our adventure. This cues our first trophy, Insomnia's Waking Nightmare.
My son.
Immediately after we leave the castle, and I mean a couple miles down the road, our car breaks down and we have to push this thing to the nearest village. But we do get one of the best songs in the whole Final Fantasy franchise, so it's kind of worth it. Anyway, copyright. Our car finally gets to the next village. It has to sit here for repair, so it's going to give us some time to go off, run a few errands. By errands, I mean get more trophies. So it's going to do a few intro things. It's going to get us a lot of trophies in very quick succession, which we love. So getting our first ability is going to get us a new power. Equipping 4 weapons will get us a Quadruple Threat. Performing our first point warp suspension will get us just hanging around. Blind Spot for performing our first blindside link. Magical Worker for crafting a spell in the menu. And then Black Mage for using that spell. So very quick, very easy, nothing really to write home about. So I've been doing all of that whilst on my first hunt, which leads us to another trophy, my first hunt. Which I think in the entire of my playthrough, I did 3 hunts in total.
No surprises.
Completing our first main story mission gives us back our car and finally the ability to drive the car, which will get us the trophy Learner's Permit. Once we're all wrapped up in Hammerhead, we'll head over to the next town. There's a weird little pinball machine, which is actually a mobile game app that you could play before the game was released. And then just playing the machine in the game unlocked the trophy, High Five for Justice. So in this Final Fantasy, there is a hobby mechanic you have to interact with for the Platinum Trophy. Noctis has fishing, Prompto has photography, Gladius walking, Ignis cooking. For Prompto, he takes a photo every 30 seconds. You get one of those photos, you can save it. Get my first one and leveling it up got me the trophy Photo Rookie. Once we're done fanning around, we're introduced to the Ally command when we get back into combat. Now again, each of the 3 bros do something different, but issuing my first command got me the trophy Brother in Arms. One of the last miscellaneous things we'll do throughout the game is side quests. So side quests are really weird in this game and I hated everything about them. So you have to do a total of 80 in the end, and some of them are bugged. Your progress is wiped if you don't restart New Game Plus properly, speaking from experience. But doing your first one, we get you spinning a yarn. After 13 trophies, we're finally back to the story, and Chapter 1 starts off fairly wild. Now, with the addition of the Royal add-on, they've added a few scenes from the movie which was released prior to the game to help the flow of the story. Now, King Regus, aka Dad, aka Daddy, gets betrayed, and the kingdom gets overrun by Magitech and demons, sending Regus's fate ending with his death. And with that concludes Chapter 1. Leading up to Chapter 2, I did a lot of walking, so passively we leveled up Gladius' hobby for walking, and we get the trophy Survival Rookie. In Chapter 2, we meet up with Kor, who is the marshal to the King Regus army, and he shows us the way to the first of the many King's tombs that unlock Noctis' power. With a new fancy sword that we won't be using, we move on and we find Loki, who drops down with his Wish version of a Gundam to try and put an end to the Lucis bloodline. Obviously, doesn't go too well for him, but it does get us the trophy, no turning back for finishing Chapter 2. In Chapter 3, I ran a few errands and completed some side quests, and some of them were actually useful, like unlocking a Chocobo. But during this journey, I forgot a mechanic that I just chose to ignore apparently, which is the parry system. Now, after you parry an attack, you can do like a link strike or something like that, which will just touch the enemy after you parry them. One of the side quests will unlock the hunt to take down a one-eyed behemoth. This allows the use of chocobos, which actually is way more useful than the flying vehicle you get at the end of the game, which I wish was a joke, but it's actually not. Riding the chocobo gets us the trophy Chocobo Jockey. After running a few errands, Chapter 3 story is basically we get headaches from Titan, who's whispering to us like his Cthulhu. And then Arden shows up for a second time and wants to take us for a car ride. That's the story. That's Chapter 3. After a cute ride with Arden, we arrive at Titan's lair and we get another King's weapon just in time to be confronted by Titan himself. Now I know we have Final Fantasy 16 now, which has some ridiculous spectacle set pieces, but fighting Titan was a vibe. Now during this fight, we unlocked the ability to summon Armiger, Power of the Kings, which is unleashing a fun little combo with all the King's weapons we've collected so far. After finally defeating Titan, we gain the ability to summon him sometimes. You can't just summon him, which is sad. We finished chapter 4, Living Legends. That's me, by the way. Starting a new chapter gives us time to do all the fun things in Final Fantasy 15, such as leveling, side quests, and fishing. Now with all the AP I got from killing Titan, I unlocked my 20th ability node for self-improved. So Ignis's hobby, which is cooking, gives you certain benefits like making your command meter feel faster, getting bonus health or bonus attack, but I managed to cook enough to level it for the first time. Trying to help my endgame grind, I finished 5 quests in total for spinning a yarn too. Fun. And then right after that, I thought my time was better spent fishing, so I fished a bit and got my first level. After all the fun things of the game, we go back to the story and we find out that Arden has stolen our car for some reason and then dropped it off at Magitech base. So that's basically the entire chapter, going to the base and getting the car back. But there's something to note here, where this is one of the 3 bases we need to clear in order to get the flying vehicle for a future trophy. Very convenient. After clearing the base out, we get the car back, we go back to the hotel we're staying at, we find out that Old Man Jenkins was killed by the bad guys. Just gives us more reasons for revenge. And thus, ending the chapter. In this new chapter, we're going to start getting photobombed by Gentiana, who apparently is Princess Luna Frey's assistant. Okay. When we finally rest, we find her in a photo and I get the trophy Immortal Photobomb. So at this point in the game, I got really into a streaming show, so what better time to knock out a few more side quests to help my grind. So within 2 hours of each other, I got the trophy Spinning the Yarn 3 for 10 side quests, and then Spinning the Yarn 4 for 20 side quests. Back to the story, we had to take Iris along with us, and then this happened. Let's go! Summon one of the 6. Wasn't that fun? Anyway, Gladys decides he wants to go off and run an errand on his own, so we let him.
You know me too well. Well, see you around, guys.
So chapter 7's different. Gladys decides he's going to go off and do his own thing in secret, which leaves us with Noctis, Prompto, and Ignis. Now, Arden pops up again and informs us that the meteor we're looking for is in a dungeon and allows us to go and get some. The only pretend downside to this is that we get to hang out with Ariana some more. Chapter 8 is another very short chapter. With the meteor in hand, we head back to the lighthouse where the vessel is stashed, and now we get to actually ride the vessel and leave for the water city. That's chapter 8. So chapter 9 is the roller coaster chapter of the game. So it's really fun, but it's a lot. So we arrive in Artesia, we formally get to meet Gentiana and meet some Hillary Clinton looking ass who basically has us agree to her terms. And then the minute we walk away, she wants to betray us. So before we can even sneeze in Artesia, it's under attack by the Magitech Ding Dongs. And then we see Luna Freya summoning Leviathan for their aid. But we do get a cool moment, we're battling Leviathan to prove our worth, and then we look over.
On second thought, you let him have it.
And this is where it gets really anime. Now, whoever told me there was no transformations in Final Fantasy 15, I want a word. After all of this really cool battle scene, Titan gets summoned, and we finish Leviathan once and for all. The chapter ends in another sad, sad way.
She has passed.
So chapter 10 starts, and we're all on a train stopping off at yet another dungeon for another king weapon. There's really not much to note in this chapter other than we're finally going to get to fight a Marlborough. Finishing this chapter will get us Heart of a King. Once we have the weapon, we get back on the train, and then we get attacked by Arden and his band of Magitex. This is the standard Thursday of defending the train from blowing up, but Arden decides to finally start messing with us as he shapeshifts into Pronto and has us kick him off the train. Honestly, this chapter is where it just feels like the content was cut, there's a few build-ups that just absolutely led nowhere. It's such a shame.
Were you in the dark?
So we start a new chapter, and this is honestly where it feels like more content was cut, which is honestly such a shame. But Arden's on the train messing with Noctis, getting him all rolled up to see where his strength is, until Genshiana appears and shows off her true form, Shiva. Now she gives us her power, we have a little chat with Arden,
From your friend.
end of the chapter. So chapter 13 is another weird chapter, but we find Noctis alone with his friends all captured. We fight our way up this weird Resident Evil looking lab, rescuing one at a time until we get to Ravus, Luna Frey's brother, who's been taken over, which very much fits the Resident Evil theme that's going on. Now with a sad end to Ravus, we're ambushed by a bunch of never-ending demons. There's really nothing to be done here at this time other than for the crew to fight them off while Noctis goes off to find the crystal's power.
Gate closed.
So we finally get to the crystal, and we are consumed by this thing. We are swallowed whole by this crystal. But we're met with Bahamut, and he seals us away within the crystal, and then Arden's out there in the world, causing havoc, summoning demons, just causing mayhem, and for us, it's the end of the chapter. That's it.
Be waiting. In Hammerhead.
After some happy hellos, it's time to take down Arden as we head towards the Citadel for some brutal fights.
You bet.
Until the very end.
It's time to finish this. Once and for all.
Now to start things off, in the royal version, Arden has a pet. And this pet is just a little thing, bloody Cerberus, which is wild. Killing him, which you have to do, would award you with a trophy, but it's the disgusting DLC trophy, so it doesn't even count for the platinum. Not counting it. So after the Cerberus encounter, we're ambushed by demons, and then the throne room is blocked off, so we need a little helping hand. Just a small helping hand. This is so cool. So cool. Straight after the fight with Cerberus, you're thrown into the next fight, literally straight away, which is with Ifrit, which is the correct pronunciation and not that Final Fantasy 16 bullshit where it's Ifrit. Awful. Anyway, we're fighting Ifrit. We're on normal difficulty, which is the only difficulty trophy for the entire game, which is Chosen King. As you've likely gathered, Royal has added a lot more content to keep up with the gaps that they missed in the first go-around. This is relevant because they added 3 new bosses before you fight Arden, and they are pretty hard on normal difficulty. That, or as I either under-leveled, and I just run out of elixirs. Anyway, each new boss represents your companion story through their DLC episode. Now if this gets you a trophy, it's just a really cool addition. After the 3 bosses are dead, we've all wrapped up there, we finally get to have our revenge on Ding Dong, which is basically just a hands-on cutscene. It's still a very, very cool fight with a very heartbreaking conclusion. This game has not held back on any of the feels.
Erase me from history once more.
This time, you can rest in peace.
In the beyond.
I love you all. Luna. Guys. Dad. The time we had together, I cherish. Kings of Lucis. Come to me!
Why did he have to die? Oh gosh.
It's finally over.
After finish up the game and the story, it leaves us with a mere 10 trophies left. I'm going to give you a little spoiler. By the end of this, I would have tripled my time it takes from finishing the game to getting the platinum trophy. So, got quite the grind. So the world now open again, and all the API received from killing everyone and their mother, I activated a few last nodes I needed for self-mastered. So the story is now complete, and I want the most convenient way to travel as possible. Now in my tiny little brain, I thought it would be the flying vehicle of Final Fantasy 15. So you need 3 parts in total, 2 of which you got from infiltrating the bases. So the last one, yep, you guessed it, infiltrate the last base. So I did that, I got the car part, I took it back to Cindy to get me access to the flying out Ragalia. With the most convenient means of transport unlocked, I'm just kidding. The most convenient means of transport is actually fast travel and still takes 2 minutes to load in. But anyway, I hunted down the last 4 King's weapons I needed. 3 of which was hidden in dungeons. One of them was in a maze dungeon, which absolutely sucked. And the last one just being on the side of a cliff, which is very convenient. Getting all 3 King's weapons gave me the Faithful Heir trophy. So, you remember when I said about overwriting your save can wipe your side quest data? Yeah, I accidentally did that, and I was looking through a 2016 Reddit post saying don't do the thing I already did, and wiped my save data. So I think it kept maybe 3 of my side missions completed, so I had to grind 72 additional side quests, which took a good 10 plus hours of in-game time to do. None of them are worth writing home about, to be honest. A lot of them just like bugged out, they sucked, they weren't very fun, but thankfully I grew up on MMOs, so this was an easier grind. My next trophy was my last official play the game trophy, is what I'm going to call it, which is killing Adamantoise. Now unlocking this guy caused some issues with there being a few bugs with quest givers not appearing, but with a strong will I unlocked the hunt to fight the guy and defeated him how the devs intended. So I had 4 remaining trophies left, and therefore maxed out the hobbies for each of the bro. So I started with fishing. I had the best rod and the best grip in the game thanks to the royal add-ons. So I just sat in Vesper Pool for 3 hours catching fish for 12 in-game hours at a time, go back and rest, rinse and repeat. Finally, got my England Expert trophy. So the next hobby to complete was cooking. Since I have all this excess fish, I might as well use it. So this one, I think only took about an hour to finish up, but I literally went to the same camp over and over again, making 2 different recipes, got my trophy. Now, why someone's hobby is to literally walk is beyond me. It really is, but I digress. I put myself to the Stalin, where the overlook areas where your car is parked. I got the cheeky rubber band tactic out and popped it around my control, and I did it for no joke 12 hours. 12 hours took me from level 6 to level 10. And then at the same time, Prompto is taking photos every 30 minutes. Now I was hoping they would both pop at the same time, but they didn't. And last but not least is photography. Now I don't know how this wasn't capped when I was finished, but at about half level, so it really wasn't too bad. I went up to the mountain dungeon and I stayed around near the camp area, and I used snapshot 5 times before I'd rest. After about 5 resets of doing this over and over again, I finally maxed out my photography hobby for photo experts. The World Wanderer! Let's go. Thank goodness. 61 hours. And with that, another Final Fantasy Platinum is in the bag. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, consider checking out this next video.